Hello everyone, welcome to another video from Mesolite Visual. In this video, we are celebrating the Pritzker Award winner for the year 2022, architect Francis Kere from Africa, based in Burkina Faso, by recreating his iconic Gando school building in ArchiCAD. My name is Dominic. This building has a lot of opportunity to learn best practices and principles, more especially in assembling BIM or building information models projects and extraction of data for documentation and analysis. Welcome back the returning viewers and subscribers. If you are new here or you have been watching our videos without subscribing, please, we need your support. Subscribe and activate that bell icon. If you find this video interesting, please like and share it. Also download all the resources and project files used for this video in our Patreon membership. The link is in the description. Without any further ado, let's get started. Yeah, the first thing that we need to do, like any other project, any other new project, most especially if you are using a ArchiCAD default template, I would like to go through some basic settings like changing the elevation markers on the floor plan. So I'll select all these markers and then open the settings to change the marker style to something more like traditional. If you come here under marker symbol and text and set this to circle 4 and then move up to marker section to set the size of the marker to 15 millimeters, and then I can set the pen for this as well to be 0.10, which is 161 color on the color table. And then from here we can apply the changes to our markers. Okay, once we're done with the elevation markers, we need to place a section, because these are the fundamentals of or they are going to help us to model this project. So I would have a section under viewpoints. Let's activate the section tool here, and then I'll draw section across here like that all the way to there, and then I'll have another section because I want to have two sections in order for me to produce or model this project effectively. So like the elevations as well, this sections has to be on the same marker style. I'll open its settings, and what I need to do is to go under marker symbol and text. Let's set this to circle 4, just like our elevations, and then go up to marker section to set the height or the size of this to be 15 millimeters, and change the pen to 0.10 millimeters, which is 161 pen in the color table. Once we're done, we can hit OK. But one thing that I need to do, if you are, let me just move this on the side here so that you can see what I'm trying to explain. I don't want to have the section line goes across my drawing, because it will affect the readability of this drawing. So I need to maybe cut it or make it stop at the end of the drawing. So what I can achieve that by activating under here marker section, activate the segmented part, and then I'm gonna break it in the middle so that we can have something like this to apply changes. Yes, that's basically what I wanted to achieve. Okay, so once we are done with this, because they are the fundamentals of assembling this project from this great project, guys. I'm very excited to take this project in ArchiCAD. So we move on to the next stage by looking at the site of this project. So to do the site, I'll start by activating the mesh or the terrain tool. Then I'll just use a geometry method of polygonal so that I can just draw points, my mesh by points like that, something like that. Okay, once we're done, let's select our mesh. We're gonna get rid of this hedge on the floor plan. It doesn't look all right, and in most cases hedge in ArchiCAD will make your file very heavy, and often your ArchiCAD will start crashing, most especially when it's being applied on a larger scale like this. So I would say scroll down here under floor plan section, and then let's get rid of the cover fill for this, and then hit OK. We could change also the pen sets or the pens for this. I can just come here under floor plan section, maybe for cut I would go for 0.35 for the cut elements on our sections. So for uncut, which is basically on elevations and floor plan, I would use let's go for 0.10 as well for this. Okay, that's basically that. We've managed to place our mesh. In terms of the height, from the, that was subject to change because I'm yet to place my floor slab. That one will change as we move on. All right, so let's now do the footprint of the building once we have this. But before we do that, we need to have some pathways and all the likes. Okay, let's I would go and activate the slab tool, and then I would use for now, let me just use a basic structure instead of a composite. We'll later convert this into a composite. You will see when we get to that stage. And then I'll use the material for concrete structural as it is, and then I would use geometry method of a rectangle to specify the first point like that. And as I move diagonally, I'm going to key in the measurements of this box. It's going to be 25 meters, and then I'll click the arrow, the downward arrow in your keyboard to key in the vertical dimension, which is going to be 16.6, which is 16,600 millimeters. I'm using millimeters for this, and then hit enter. That's basically our footprint of our building. The slab, including the walkways or the apron, right? And then what I need to do is to activate the arrow tool here and then select this slab. I'll pick the one of the points, and then I'll activate offset all edges from the pad palette, and I'm going to key in an offset of 5.7. Oh, sorry, I was supposed to offset a copy. Sorry about that. Let's do it again. Pick this point, offset, and then hit Control to add a copy. Remember that shortcut, and then 5.50. Right. So from the edges, from the sides, it's supposed to be 5.5. From this side, I will just pick offset edge and then offset this edge. Same applies to this side as well. These sides are supposed to be at 25, 35. Same applies to this side, 25, 35. All right, and then from here I'll select all the slabs. Let's select all the slabs like that, and then come here under floor plan and section. Let's set the pan sets for this to be, I think on the cut I would want this to be at 0.35 on sections, right? And then on plans and elevations it should be a lighter pen, which is going to be 0.10 that way. Okay, right. So once we're done with this, let's move on to the next step, which is the actual classroom or the actual building itself. So what you need to do is I'm going to Alt L to add a guide. It's a shortcut to adding a guide. So, and then I'm gonna draw a guide from this side to the other side by 4.3, 4,400. Okay, and then I'll do the same, Alt L, and then draw another guide this side by 4,200. It could be the same either way, but according to his dimensions, it's something related to this. I don't want to degrade the quality and the standard of this project. I would rather maybe improve on what's already there, guys, because it is an iconic building, so I really need to be very careful with that. So, and then once you're done with this, this will be the position of the columns, right? And then I can pick let's just pick a polyline tool under the documents section, and then I'll just draw a box using a rectangle geometry. Let's just draw a box of 4.2 by, let's just click it here, and then we can come and, oh sorry about that, let's click this edge, stretch it to be in line with that line. So this will be the position of our columns and beams, sorry. And then I'll Control Shift D and then move this to the other direction as well, or the other side, sorry. And then I'll stretch this all the way to be in total 4.3. Okay, that's basically now the geometry of this project. this is the way the classroom is, and then this side are the pathways and whatever corridors. Okay, so let's now place okay, but before I do that, let's check on 3D to appreciate what we already covered. I think the base of the building, it's a bit higher, so I would just drop the terrain maybe by 400 instead of 200, negative 400. Let me just see, or maybe 450, something like this. Okay, for now it's fine. Would come and it's subject to change when we're doing our foundations as well, so don't worry about that. And let's go back to our ground floor. So when it comes now to the substructure of this project, I'm going to create some additional stories to this default template. So I'll right click in one of the stories here, and then to open the story settings, or you could hit Ctrl+7 as a shortcut to access your story settings. So I would insert the story below. I would call it foundation, and then this should be a 1.5 deep. Okay, and then I'll hit OK to apply the changes. Now we have introduced another story below 0, which is our foundation. So that's basically where we're going to start our footing. So our footing is going to be based on that ground floor footprint we already placed, or we could also place some wall as a guideline of our foundation for this project. So I could just come here under design tool palettes and then activate the wall tool. It's going to be let me change the structure to just basic for now, and then set the material for this to brick structural. And then what we need to do, I think the thickness of this, we just leave it as default, which is 300. And what I need to do is to activate the geometry method of a rectangle so that I can place this. And the reference location for now is going to be from the outside, because I want to pick it from here right to there. That will be the base of our project. So if you go down to the foundation, what we need to do is to create a profile, and is to create a profile of that. There are many ways of doing or creating a foundation in ArchiCAD, but in most cases I would want us to focus on the effective way of doing that. So to choose a method that will save a lot of time for us. So we already have the ground floor the ground floor walls. So what we can do, we can make a copy of this, right? And then I'll Control-Shift-D to make a copy using the same point, and then place it on the same point. And then I'm going to key in or link this selection to the foundation so that it can disappear here. So this window, it's just a warning for us that the origin or the location of these walls are on the down or the unseen story. So we can hit or continue to do that. It will disappear here. So if you go to your foundation there, you would find now we have walls. So what you need to be careful with is the height of this wall. So if we said it's been linked to the top story, which is this, it will give us a 1.5 height, which is perfect. So we can also confirm with our section. So if you open this section, let's select the section and then right click, open with current view settings, and then make sure they are sitting on the same position, right? This is what I wanted. Of course, it's the way I wanted. Okay, so let's go back to the foundation, and what we need to do is to create a profile, like I said, for our footing. So I would select one of this, make sure it's ungrouped. I'll activate the suspend group so that it can be ungrouped. Let's go to the options, complex profiles, to capture this profile in order for us to create a profile for our foundation, okay, or for our footing. Right, now it's open. We need to start doing that. So I have a sketch in mind on how the footing or the foundation of this project is going to be like. So what I would do, I would activate under the documents, activate the fill tool. Let's change the material to, or the fill type, to concrete structural. which is this one, and then I'll draw using geometry method of a rectangle, draw a box of a concrete base, a concrete footing base of the width that's going to be 700, and then I would use the downward arrow to access the vertical height, which is going to be 650. That will be the concrete base for our footing. So I'll select this material, make sure you pick it from the midpoint so that you can move it or drag it to the underside of our wall, just like that. And then the height of this wall should be 725. So if I Alt L to add a guide, let's draw a guide of 725 here, enter. That's where our wall height is supposed to be. So I'll select this wall and then pick this edge to offset edge to our 725 dimensions. So that's basically what we have in terms of our footing. It's going to be like that. So in terms of we would rather take care of the pen sets on the profile. It's very advisable to do that. So if I go here or come here under view and then on screen options, I want to activate the true line weight to see how my weights are going to be on sections, because I'm already thinking about sections already, drawings. At the end of the day, guys, we are modeling for the purpose. Unlike before, in early stages of this ArchiCAD and or this 3D architectural 3D softwares, we're basically creating 3D models for the sake of visualization. For this age, where BIM methodology is advanced, we always model our project or always assemble our model in order for us to extract a lot of information, extract data from this model. So every time when you're doing something in ArchiCAD, make sure is it something that will be useful going forward in terms of extracting and sharing of information. So I would select this. As it is now, it's not the way I want. I want at least to be as thicker as my wall. So I'll select that and then make it make the outline type to be the contour pen to be 3.5 millimeters. There we go. It looks perfect. And then I have some skins on this. This also could be a concrete. Let me have this as a concrete as well. I would pick parameters of this by Alt and then inject by Control Alt and then inject to that. But I don't want to have this line. I want it to be continuous, so I can select this and then pick one of this edge, and then I'm going to add a polygon from the pet palette here. Let's add to a polygon and then draw this rectangle or wall. Okay, I can now double tap in your keyboard to select the underneath skin and then get rid of it. I'll delete it like that. Perfect. So one thing that I've left is the H pen. As you could see, it's this funny green kind of a pen, but you cannot control it here. You can only control this on building materials, right? So bear in mind that we'll come back and adjust that. So we have some skins on the both sides of our footing. That is going to be on brick. I'll pick parameters of that and then come here under field type. Let's activate brick structural, and then I'll draw it from here to there. I'll do the same to the other side like that. So that is the skin that I'm looking at. Okay, this could change. I could change the weight for this. Let's make it, instead of 21, I'll go for 41, which is 0.25 millimeters, which is slightly lower than the concrete. Okay, once we're done with your footing, our profile, is time to save it. We have tools that we can use this profile with. Currently it's selected wall. I want to activate also a beam, because beam are perfect for doing your footing. So and then hit save, and I'm going to give it a, let's say, concrete base footing, then hit OK. Once you're done, I could come here under foundation plane, and then I would select all of these walls like that, and let's make sure the suspend group is active, and then I can apply. There we go. So that's my footing. as you can see. Okay, so if we check on section, that's basically what we have. This is what we have, right? And it goes all the way. I don't know why it goes all the way to there. Let's go back to our profile and check what is the problem with that. You see, we have this hotspots that extends our height of our beam, so we need to get rid of this hotspots. I'll just delete and then select this. Make sure it's been positioned from the origin point, which is this, to 0, and then save. If you go back to your section, the changes should be applied now. Now it's perfectly positioned. Right. What is this? And there's a weird joint for that. Oh, that's a slab. There's this slab, I don't know what it is from. We can get rid of that slab, right? If, oh, sorry about that. Let's get rid of this. I don't know why it doesn't look right there. Or maybe before we delete, make sure you check, you confirm what it is. It doesn't affect it. I think this has to stay. We'll see how we can solve that at the moment. Okay, so I'm pretty happy now. We have the foundation, and we have the foundation and everything. So this, I think the earth, the terrain, it's a bit lower, so we need to maybe move it right underside of our slab like that. Okay, and we can increase its height to, I'll make it 3 meters for now. It's subject to change. Okay, let me just collapse this profile. I can get rid of it for now. Let's just close the window for now. Okay, so yeah, I'm pretty happy with the base of the project. So if you check on 3D, let's right click and then show all and 3D. That's basically what we have at the moment. Okay, so let's move on to the next stage, but I haven't finished doing some other material, so I would start by this. Because I shouldn't have all the slab that cuts across all the way like that, so I have to have the internal slab inside, because this has to go all the way. So what I need to do is go to the ground floor. On the ground floor, I'm going to select the slab, make sure the slab is inside. So I would pick this one of the point, and then I'll use offset all edges like that, so that when you check on your section, we are getting rid of that line. Perfect. So that's the line that we're trying to get rid of. And then we also have this slab. We need to subtract it from the internal side of our building. So let's select that slab from the floor plan, which is this. I'm going to pick one of the points and then subtract with polygon, and then I'm going to pick press and hold your space bar in your keyboard to activate the magic wand tool, and then I'll select this line or the wall like that to trim off that material. I could go all the way to there, stretch also this one to there, so that I can have something like that. I'm going to fill in here with some stone rubble, because that's how the base of this project is being formed. It's sitting on top of a base rubble or gravel or stones, compacted or packed stones. So that's what we are going to do. So in section, we're starting to get our, what is this for? We had okay, now because of that, our wall has to go all the way a bit to sit on top of our footing. So if I come here and then activate the measure tool and then measure this distance is 175. So all the walls has to be, I will go to ground to make sure I select all the walls. Select all the walls and then activate the suspend group. I'll scroll in the info box here and then make sure it's going to be negative 175. They're going to sit from negative 175. So if you check on 3D, I mean on section, it will address that situation there. So now you have this. Okay, perfect. So for our flow, we're not, this project, it was using the packed stone to create floors. Same applies to this paving style. So we're going to create a composite for this in order for us to achieve that kind of representation. So I would go to options, element attributes, and then let's activate composites window. There we go. And then I'm going to go down here and create a new window. I don't want to duplicate. I'm going to create from just a new composite. Then I'll call it let's call this Gando. How do you spell flow composite? I'll just say flow and then hit enter. By default, you will have one skin there waiting for you to define. So this will be, I'll change this to be a, it has to be a stone structural, and then I'll insert another let's insert another skin. This skin is going to be a finish on top of this stone, so I'm going to make it 100, and then the stone structural, no, okay, the finish is going to change. Let's change the material to stone finish. Okay, we have a stone finish material there. It will stay at 100 thickness. The stone structural is going to change to 845. Okay, that's basically what I wanted to create. We can also think of the pen sets for our material, but for now, as it is, I think it's fine as it is. And then I'll hit OK. Let's come and select our slab, change this to a composite. Let's find a newly created composite for our Gando flow. So it has to be like that. Perfect. So what we need to do now is to make sure the representation of materials, like I said, this is a compact or packed stones, so we need to see that in our section. So what I need to do is to select, before I change everything, I need to cut this out of my terrain so that it can be visible, so that the graphics can be visible. So to do that, let's select the terrain and then right click to bring connect solid element operation, and then select our slab, edit as a operator, and then hit choose the subtraction operator and then execute. Right, so that we have this. So let's now sort the issue of representation. So what I need to do is select this composite, and then go to options, element attributes, to bring in our building materials, because the hatch and the physical materials or physical surfaces of any material in ArchiCAD is being controlled by building materials. So you could see here under structure and appearance, the cut stone, which is the hatch that we see in this section, is supposed to be, let's change it to be stone, right? Let me just drag it at the top here. It has to be stonework 12. Okay, and then the physical appearance, I'm going to change this to stonework or stone lime fine. Okay, so I can also change the pen for representing this on section. I'll use 0.10 millimeters and then hit OK. So that will change our hedge. So no way, we've changed the wrong material. So let's go back and elements, attributes, building materials. We've changed the wrong materials. Okay, we've changed for the stone finish. For stone finish, it will remain as cut stone. Let's find cut stone, and this will be, yeah, this can remain. I don't know, should I think let's just go with this. And then for the stone structural, that's where we're going to change the hedge to stonework 12, and also make sure the pen is that the limestone fine, it's also fine for this. If you hit OK, it should be fine. Perfect. Now that's what we wanted to achieve. So we have our stone packed, and then we have this grid on top of our packed stone. All right, so that's basically what we wanted to do, and then this continues all the way to the outside. But the difference with outside, it's kind of a bit sloping to direct water to the downside, right? So to achieve that, I cannot use a composite, a slab, because you cannot create a composite for terrain. As you could see, if you come here under composites window, the only tools that you could use, these are the tools that you could use for that. I could use a roof to create that. Yeah, I could use a roof as well, depending on what I want. So let's just use a roof. I'm gonna use the roof to use this composite for the outside paving or walkway through apron, like that. Okay, so I'm going to go here underground, then I will activate the roof tool. So it's always good to understand how these native or primitive tools can be used out of its context. So in this case, I'm going to use I could use what you call the terrain tool, but the terrain tool, I need to have two layers here. So I would have to use solid element operation to stack two layers of terrains and then trim it, because the terrain is fine. I can reduce its height. Okay, let me just show you instead of explaining. So I'll activate the terrain, and then I'll draw a terrain like that, right? Select this, open its settings. No, I want to select the terrain instead of the slab. This slab is going to go because it's the one that we are trying to resolve. So if you open its settings and change or switch off the fill, all right, so if you check on a section, we have something like this, but we need to now do it to cut off the elements. So I'm going to do it on the floor plane. Let's pick one of the points and then activate subtract the polygon. Let's subtract this there, right, so that when you cut a section, it doesn't affect our flow, our internal flow. It's just from the outside. So what I meant about this is to come here on 3D, okay, and this could change the material to stone structural, right? And then I would open its settings and not override the top part, something like that, and I'll set this to 0 just to have this. Okay, so and then what I need to do is to drop down this, but before I drop down, I think I need to reduce the height. I can pick one of these points and then stretch the height to there. I think it's going to be 680. It's subject to change. So once you are done with that, I can pick one of these points and then activate the elevate mesh point, right, and then drop it down by 100, and I'll do all the corners. Okay, I'll do all the corners, and then I'll just reference with this one. I hope that one worked. No, he didn't go. Let's just drop it down by 100. Do the same to the other side by 100. You could tell it would take a lot of time to finish this, guys, by using this method, right? And then I'll come this side as well. This side is fine. I hope every side has been taken care of. So if we check on 3D, we want to have, on section, we want to have this slope, in order that when rains, it just leads direct water to the natural ground surface. Okay, so that's basically what we want to achieve. So but with this, we cannot set a profile and try to achieve that. I would have to now do what? Control Shift D to carry a copy of this, move it down by 100, right? Once you are done with that, the top part, or before we can even think of materials, let's make a subtraction. So I'm going to activate my solid element operation window and then pick this one as an operator. The target is going to be the top part, which is that one that will act as a finish, and then I'll use subtract with downward extrusion like that, so that we can remain with something like this, and then this will change to stone finish, so that we can have this continuity going down. And then let's try to increase the height of this, okay, maybe to 800 going down. Then pick it as an operator. The terrain is going to be the target. We're going to use subtraction so that we can represent it very well. That's basically what I wanted to do, and you could see it took us a bit of a time to achieve that, but in 3D that's how it is. I'm not happy with the finish, but the way this subject to change as well. I was saying you could also use a roof tool to achieve this, because we already have a composite for that. So let's see how it will work. I'm going to delete this. Let's delete that, and then delete the base as well, and move down to ground. Oh, sorry about that. I shouldn't delete before I trace. Or I will just draw a polyline to polyline box before I get rid of that. Okay, so what I wanted to do is maybe if you use I don't know, it will actually work. Roof. Okay, let's do it. Roof, activate the roof, and then I'll use geometry method of a single plane. So I'm gonna start with this plane, but before we place, let's change the structure to our floor. Where is our floor? Gando floor. It's not here. I thought we saved it with that. Yeah, here it is, Gando floor. And then I'll draw a line and then indicate the direction of a slope, then draw our roof. It's been linked to the upper floor. We're going to go to that floor and then set this to be at we can set it to be on a foundation, right? So that when we come here on foundation, we're going to pick this point and move the point by using this move node to this corner. Do exactly the same to this side as well, right? And then set the angle to be a gentle slope. I think it's maybe about 6 degrees. So if I had to cut a section, let's just drag this section a bit here, right click and open with current view settings. And this is basically how it is. And then I can drag this down to where it's supposed to be. I think it's supposed to sit right on top of this. It's supposed to be around let's make it 100. Okay, make it 100 like that. I think the slope could change to 4. Make this 50. 0, something like this. And then instead of having this or to correct this mistake or this situation here, we could come and open the settings and have it plumb. Instead of this set perpendicular, let's make it plumb like that. I hope it work perfect. And then we can go to the footing and make sure it sits right where we want. So let's select it and then bring it back to the edge of our footing. If we check on a section, that's basically how it is, and it's supposed to sit right on the top of, right on the edge of our footing. Okay, but this could actually work. We could also use a composite profile to achieve this as well. So there are plenty ways of doing that. So for profile, there are a lot of ways of killing a head in ArchiCAD. So this again we can subtract to make sure the representation is perfect, or something like that. Okay, we could also use a beam as a profile. I think I would like to do that, but one thing you need to bear in mind is the joins. Some of the methods and ways is going to give us a problem in terms of joining the two. So right now I don't know what it is. This, okay, this can be solved by adding this as a target and then use our footing as an operator to subtract in order for us to get a clean connection. And then for this, I can move it at the top there, and then it should start over that. It should start over that. The finish has to go over that. Okay, so we can go back to the foundation and drag it here, drag right to the edge there. Let's check on a section, something like this. Now the challenge is here. You see, that's where the challenge is, because now we have the subtraction. We need to make our material lesser stronger than the footing material, except the finish, except the stone finish, so that it can go all the way and snap to this. Let's fix that. I'll select both the elements and then go to element attributes, open building materials. On building materials, what we want to make is the stone finish to be stronger than the brick structural, right? Let's find our stone finish. Here we go. Make our stone finish stronger than our brick structure. I'll just take it all the way to there. So if you hit OK, it should clean up. It didn't clean up. Oh my god, let's go back again. Building materials, brick structural is around 720. The stone finish should be, but it's all the way to there. Okay, it's already strong. Okay, so here, or maybe we move this a little bit higher. Practically, that's how it's supposed to be done. Practically, this is how it should be done, right? Except this. Except this. We can move it again up, maybe by 50. Yeah, it should be something like this. Perfect. I think it's great like this. And then I can use the solid element operation to subtract to clean up this. It looks great. Perfect. It worked, but I'm not sure it's the correct, but it is. It is. The only challenge here was supposed to have this straight, to be in line with this, instead of being something like that. That's where the terrain methodology comes into play. So I would undo. Let me see. Okay, the undo stops just there. I'll delete this and go back to our mesh. Let's go back to our mesh underground. Draw, place the terrain, mesh tool, select this, change the fill not to cover, and then I will subtract by picking one of the points and then activate the subtract polygon to cut off this material for our building. And then I will go back to 3D, set the material of this to be stone structural, and I don't want to override the surface just to get, but I can override it to be stone structural. I can override it with stonework. Let's find stonework 12. Yeah, I can override with this material, and let's set the height of it to be 0. Okay, and then I'm going to drop down now this by 100. Let's pick the point and then activate the elevate mesh, go down by 100, do the same to that edge. I will reference with this, and then do the same to the other side, reference with this. Let's orbit by hitting O in your keyboard to drop this also by 100. Okay, so now we need to make a copy of this. Control Shift D to make a copy, drop it down by 100, and then come here on the solid element operation, make the top part as a target, and then the bottom, no, sorry, this will be an operator, the top will be the target, and then I'm going to use subtract with downward extrusion to remain with this. Okay, so if we check on your sections, this will be the kind of arrangement that we are having. We have this slope, this will change to a stone finish instead of stone structural, something like that. Perfect. And then I can collapse this solid element operation, and what I wanted is to have my packed stones to sit right on the or to be in line with the footing height. So I could say, let me measure this distance first. It's supposed to be 750. Select this, make it 750. Do the same to this one. I'll measure this distance 750. They're going to be on the same size. Okay, because this is a profile, so I need to right click while it's being selected and edit this selected profile, and then make this 750. Should be fine. Perfect. I'm not impressed with this line for this. It's too thick, so let's go back and change the pen to, or I can get rid of this line by not including there. Okay, and then the mesh, let's make the line to be just 0.10, yeah, to be something like that. Okay, so we have a clean now connection between this. So what we need to do is to select this as an operator, as a target, sorry, and then this is going to be an operator. I'm going just to use subtraction like that. Okay, the good part of this, it will affect both sides. As you could see, now we have a clean foundation. Perfect. So that's basically what I wanted to achieve. So, and then I have more like a footing for this to cap or to support this packing stone. So that I'll create a profile, but before I create a profile, let me just go to ground, and I'll activate the wall tool and set the width to 200, or just leave it at 300. Okay, and then I can draw a box to place these walls. No, they are supposed to be outside, so I'll select this and then flip the reference location to the outside, so that on section we have something like that. But it's going to be, let's set this to be the height we want. I'm going to scroll down here in the info box under stories. Let's not link this, and then set the height of this to be 400. Okay, and then it's going to be linked with foundation, so that it can start all over there, and then I can move it manually for it to start here. Okay, so I want it to act as I want it to have a foundation or a footing base down below. So what I need to do here is to measure this distance from there to there is 750. I'm going to set this to be 750 like that, and then drop it down here so that it can be inlined. Okay, so I would suspend group or activate a suspend group, and then come here under options. Let's create a profile for this. So I'll go for profile manager, and then I'll set a new profile, or I can just say capture to capture the selected material or element in your file. So what I need to do is just to include or to add a footing base for this. So I'll pick parameters of that by Alt, and then change the material to concrete structural, and then I'll draw a concrete box concrete box of 700 by 700, something like that. I think it's 700 is too much. Let's make it 600. I'll select this edge and then move it up by 100, something like that. Okay, so once you are done, make sure it's aligned. Make sure it's aligned. Yes, it's aligned like that. You could save. I would save this as a apron / walkways footing base. It's always good, guys, advisable to save your profiles and composites with a proper description, because you can also use these descriptions to call out and do your specifications when you're doing your documentation. So be particular with this so that it can also help you in doing your documentation. So I can just do that and then save this. You could also save it using a beam tool if you want. And then let's go back to 3D. And what I need to do, oh yeah, I'm supposed to change this to be a, this material should change to be a, it has to be a stone. Let's make it a stone structural as well. And then I'll hit save. If we check on 3D, we want to apply this to, I'll select all, suspend group to select all, and then unsuspend, because you cannot apply it when it's grouped. When it's grouped, oh, ArchiCAD has improved. In previous versions, you couldn't apply a grouped elements, a profile. You have to ungroup it. That's a huge improvement. So I will say apply, so that it can be. It's refusing to apply. Okay, let's say yeah, I was telling the truth, guys. You cannot apply while your elements are being grouped. So I'll come here under settings. What I need to do maybe is to change the fill. We can set this to be stone finish, stonework 12. Yeah, stonework 12, like that. Perfect. So now we have our base like that. So if we check our section, should have that, but it has to take it has to be one thing, because if you look at the material for this, the material and the line types for that is not what we want. So what I need to do is to select or make this let's just close this. Let's select this and then undercut elements, make it 3.5, so that it can be a continuous element like that. Okay, and then we need to be very careful with this issue here, because you see it goes all the way. We need to subtract this from our footing. So if you right click and then to bring solid element operation, let's say this will be the target and then the footing will be the operator. So make sure that's all suspended and then edit. So I need to do it on 3D so that I can select all elements. So that's supposed to be 4 elements. And then if you go back, if you hit execute, yes, you see now you have a clean drawing. Okay, if you want to see it clearly again, you can maybe switch off your true line width. Okay, I could tell we have a problem here. We have a problem of this. I don't know why we have an extra line there. Why do we have an extra line? So if we right click and activate this, the suspend group, and right click to edit, what I want to do is to edit this profile and see what might be the problem. We have an extra line here. It seems everything is pretty clean, so I'll close this. It's not our profile that has an issue, it's because of some modeling Yeah, it's because of modeling issues. Maybe this is not straight. Let's check on the side. We also have it. We also have it this side. What is this? Okay, let me check on 3D and try to troubleshoot this. Organize myself here. There should be something that let's go to the foundation. Yeah, this is the line. It's a reference location line, so I think is to edit this and make sure. I see it's on our profile. Yeah, you could see we have this funny hotspots. Let's move this hotspot to there so that it can be in line, and then make sure we move everything to be in line with this. Oh yeah, and then save. That was the problem. Okay, don't cry guys if you have a problem like this. You try troubleshoot and see what might be the problem, what might be the cause of that problem, and then try to solve it. So now I'm pretty happy that everything will be fine. If I go back to the sections, that issue will disappear because of that. Perfect. So now we have an issue here. We don't have or our footing, it's wider than 300, so that's another problem to solve. So I will Alt L to draw a guideline of 300 because this is supposed to be 300, and then let's stretch all these guys to there, and then I hope everything should be fine. Now this is 180 and this is 200. YE, this is 700. Alt to draw a guideline. This should be the center. Okay, and Alt, and then I'll have to go this way by 150. Clearly it's not 150, so I have to move it there, move this one as well there. Alt has to go all the way there by 150. So this small problems, guys, small discrepancies can cause a lot of damage to your project. As you could see, our sections are not well represented in the way we want. So I have to select everything now and make sure this corner is aligned with the origin point, and make sure the hotspot as well, it's right on this corner. If you save, everything should be fine now from our sections. Good, everything is being aligned. We don't have that funny line that were troubling us. Okay, so now I can get rid of my complex profile, and then I can continue with the rest of modeling. Okay, so I think this finish, we can change the material, the pencils to, let's use 10. We can also use the 10 on the floor plan for the uncut. Same applies to the ridge. Okay, that's basically that what we have. Okay, so pretty much happy with the now foundation and everything. So we need now to move on into the superstructure. We have a lot of exciting elements or features to tackle in the superstructure or in the shell of this building. So the first thing that I need to do is to select all of this. Let's go back to our ground, and then what I need to do in the ground, I'll have to draw or focus more onto the building itself now. So I can now go to our guides. Let's remove all the guidelines. Okay, so once you are done with that, I need to position my a whole height. I'm going to select this wall. Let's select all the walls. Instead of restricting it to the upper story, I'm going to say it's not going to be linked, and then no, let's not link it and leave it at this height. It will later change, I know. And one important thing here, because if we check on 3D from the inside, this is the side for the board. The board will be located, and then we have a platform where a teacher would stay. At the corner there will be his station. So what I need to do is define that in floor plan. So I'll pick this slab parameter, and then I'll start draw a slab of let's say a slab of 3 meters going this way, and then enter. We'll select the slab. I'll pick this point, move it back by half like that. That will be the platform for a teacher, and this shouldn't be of any structure. Let's just use a basic structure. The building material would be stone structural, right? And then the offset height should be on 200. Also, let's just keep it at 0, but let's check on 3D. Where is our, okay, there we go. This is our slab. Instead of keeping it at 0 at that, we're going to keep it at 0, but the only thing we're going to change is the reference location. So if we set it that, it will create our platform like that, but it looks huge, our platform. We need to make it 150 or 200. Yeah, this is just a step for a teacher, and then we have a blackboard for the teacher to write, and then this will be the side for the workstation for the madam. Okay, so I'm pretty happy much with what we covered already. So I forgot one last thing on the site. We have to have access to, if you look at this, we have to have access to the platform. So we're gonna have a ramp here, and then we have a pathway there. Let's just quickly produce that. Let's just quickly produce that. Here I would go here under documents, and then activate the spline tool. I'm going to draw. Okay, before I draw a spline tool, we need to place our ramp. So I'll pick parameter of a mesh, and then let's draw a ramp from here, a ramp of 2.5 by 3.5. Okay, so if we check on 3D, where is the ramp? There is the ramp. So we're going to drop it down here to there, drop as well the side to there. That's basically our ramp. So in 2D representation, it doesn't indicate it's a ramp. So what we need to do, I'm going to come here and then pick a polyline tool. I'm going to draw a line using a polyline geometry here, just the line to represent that. But this line is 2D. I want to embed this line to the mesh, okay, so that even on 3D it should show it's a ramp. Okay, so I'm gonna use a method where we're applying contours into our mesh. So, but before we do that, I need to make sure this doesn't touch the edge of our slab of our mesh. I'm just gonna move it a little bit here so that it can work. Other than that, it won't work, guys. If you go push it all the way to the side, it won't work. So I need to select the mesh and then activate the mesh again tool, and then I'll activate the magic wand by press and holding your keyboard, and then click on this and then hit OK. Right, I can now get rid of this line. This will remain permanent even on 3D to show that's a ramp. Great. Okay, so let's do a path now that will service that ramp. So I'll come here under documents and pick the spline tool. I'll draw a line from all the way to there that will pass by this, going all the way to there. Select this path, offset, add a copy by control, and then make an offset of 1.5. That will be basically your path. and I'll pick a slab. Let's pick a slab for that. And wow, I won't apply magic wand for this, but make sure this goes, or it extends all the way so that we can use magic wand to apply our slab. We have a gap here. To use magic wand on regions, you have to have all your points or edges enclosed, so that if I pick a slab tool, if I dip, it will work. Okay, so that basically that. It will take a bit because it covers the entire space. Perfect. So it's been applied. I can get rid of my spline tool because I don't need that. And if we check on a section, or maybe on 3D, this shouldn't be a profile, a composite, so I'll just have it a basic structure and make it a stone structural. Set this to be, I'll set the height to be 200. The height to be, no, let's just make it a layer of 50. A layer of 50. And I'll change its reference location to there. No, why is it? No, let's change it to here. Okay, it has to sit right. I can do this on this section. Select this section and right click, open with current view settings. Let's see how. There we go. I'm going to drop it down to there, and then I'm going to use solid element operation. Pick this as an operator, and then the mesh as a target, and then use subtract with upward extrusion and hit execute, so that you can have that. So this as well is supposed to be stone structural, because it's not being cut. That's why it's being like that. Okay, so I think this could go up a bit. Same applies to that. Oh yeah, in order for to connect. So I could change the surface. Let's override the surface to stone 12. Make sure the surfaces are all linked like that, and hit OK to apply the changes. Okay, so we have pretty much everything. I think one last thing that I need to do is to change the pens for this to be 0.10 for both ridge and the uncut pen. All right, so let's get rid of this. Like I said, we have pretty much everything in terms of our base for this magnificent structure. So now let's see what makes this building iconic. That's now the point or the stage that we're coming into. Okay, to move on with this stage, let's activate the ground floor. What I need to do before I can do anything, before I can start play around with that, let's zoom in here, and then I'm going to place the furniture arrangement of this structure. So let's say we're going to have object tool activated, right? And then open its settings. I'm gonna start with the station for the teacher. Let's search for I'm going to just use something basic under layouts, furniture layouts. Where are they? There you go. There is this office furniture, and let's just move here. I want pretty much, I thought I would have styles. Okay, but it's fine. I can, but you don't have to have for the teacher, you don't have to have the screens. I'm going to remove all the partitions so that you can clearly see the kids. Under floor planning section, I'm going to override the pens and make the pens to be 0.10. Hit OK. Place it somewhere there. The teacher, I will rotate this or not even rotate, let's just move it there, or maybe like I said, you can rotate it this way. Okay, I'll make sure it's in line with this. Perfect. And then the next object is the board for writing. So I'll go back. There's a folder for school furniture and the school board. I'm going to go with a blackboard marker, and board style is going to be this folding one. And then I'm going to include some writing in 3D. What else again? Change this pen to 10. I think everything will pen. On 3D I could also make it full, and then there should be a dimension for, let's find a dimension for the board, the thickness of the board. So board width should be, I'll make it 3 meters, and then maybe this I can make it 1.5, then hit OK. Let's apply that. Make sure it's 90. Make it 90 degrees, and then I can align it to the center there. It looks huge. Let's reduce it to 2 meters. Okay, 2 meters is fine. I can increase the width to 100, or maybe 50 will do. Okay, so let's check on 3D all those changes we made. Okay, I think the height at 1.1 is fine. Maybe we can make it 1.3. This is fine. On 3D we can close it off or make it open 180 and 3D, so that it can be that way. Perfect. Okay, let's move on to the desk for students. Let's go back again to object settings, and here there are student desk. I'll make sure in 3D detail level it's full, and the pen is supposed to be 0.10, which is fine, and then I'll place it there. Set this to be, the width should be, I'll make it 1.2, and then set, or maybe 2 meters, because it's going to be a row of students. Set this to be 90. The width, I'm going to make it 1 meter, and then move it to the desk, to the wall like that. Okay, and I could run, I think the width of 1 meter is huge. Let's make it 800. Then run multiple copies by using this multiply, and then I would distribute, include 3 of this. Start from here, something like that. Position it, there we go. Because this side we're going to have locus, I'm going to group this, then also pick this and multiply. I'm going to have 2, 3 of this as well. Pick it from here to the edge. Yeah. Okay. So this side I'm going to have the locus, like I've said. But before we do the locus, I'll pick this wall. We're going to have some walls here like that. Let's just include or use the geometry method of a straight wall, and then this should be around 1 meter. I think 1 meter is too much. Let's stretch it back by 400. Okay, and then I can run multiple copies. That's supposed to be 4 copies along this width, something like that. Add the selection to this one, and then Control D to group. Control M to mirror this to the other side using this midpoint. And then I'm going to pick again, let's suspend groups, and then pick one of the walls. Control Shift D to move it to the other side. I'm going to rotate it horizontally like that. Control D and move it maybe somewhere here. And I'm going to Control Shift M to mirror a copy like that. This should be the same as well as mirroring a copy on the inside. Okay, and then on the inside is going to be much longer because we're gonna have it at 900 of the width of our locus. Okay, so I can just use just a line for this, a line from here. Oh, sorry, this line is supposed to be dotted. Let me just select this line, make it dotted. Control Shift M to mirror a copy of the line vertically like that. Do the same to this area, just to represent your locus section. Okay, perfect. So I'm pretty much happy with the arrangement on the inside. Yeah, now is the time for us to move on into the core structure. So I'll start by placing some columns in these corners because these represent columns. So I'll go here and then activate the column tool, and the material is going to be concrete structural. The shape of the column is going to be on circle. I don't want to have this, and the column is going to be, I don't want to link it. The column is going to be around 4.6 height, 4.6 height, and then 300 should be fine in terms of the width. I'll place it right on the corner here. I think this is small, maybe the diameter of 400. Yeah, well, it's subject to change. I will see. I think let's make it 600. Let's make this column 600. 600 because I don't have drawings for this project, so some of the things I have to estimate the sizes of the material proportionally. By the way, bear in mind, whatever I'm doing is proportional. Okay, so I can now select this. Like I said, make the material to be, I don't think the material should be concrete. No, it should be brick structural because these are brick columns. Okay, and then if you come here under settings, you don't want to override the what you call the surfaces. Leave it there, and then Control Shift M to mirror this column to the other side, and then I can take this column, Control G to group them, Control Shift D to carry a copy. We want to have another copy to this side. Okay, yeah, to that side. And if we check on 3D, that's basically what we have. So this column has to start all the way to the foundation. So you could argue that you could key in for them to start right from the footing, from the foundation level, but for the sake of this demonstration, let's just leave them the way they are. What I need to do is to place some beams. I have beams runs across there just to box this structure. So what I need to do is to activate the beam tool, and where is it, beam, and make sure the material is concrete. Oh, sorry, that's the only concrete material used on this project, guys. Can you imagine? So I'll leave it as it is for now, but what I want to do is for the boundary, I would make sure I'm using the reference axis location from the outside, right? So that I can select it from this angle, I mean from this point. Oh, sorry, I forgot, I'm supposed to use this rectangle method, geometry method, and then I can place it here. I think the other side I didn't place it correctly. Yes, I could see. let's select this, move it inside like that. For these ones, for these two beams, I would use the reference location to be on the center, because it has to be aligned on the center like that, and it has to be filleted to achieve that for both sides. Okay, I think it looks great. It looks great. I think one thing that I need to change is the position of the column. So for all the columns, it has to be inlined inside like that. Is this correct? No, I don't think this should be that case. I think also this should be positioned around here. Yeah, no, that's the case. Same applies to this. What's happened to this beam as well? This beam I will change to the inside so that I can move this column to there. Columns are very critical in terms of its position, how they connect with the beams. You could see I need to, okay, pick it by the center, then there. Yeah, I think they're pretty much sitting on the right position. What I need to do is to set their, let me select all the beams, and then I'll override the pens. Let's override the pens. The cut I want to, the cut is going to be on 0.35, right? And then the uncut is going to be that pen 161. I can copy and then paste for every parameter like that. Perfect. So now I have pretty much everything in terms of my beam. So for the column, I'll pick all the columns as well by activating the column tool in your keyboard, and then tool palette, and then hit Control A in your keyboard. What I need to do is to come here under floor plan section. I want to override the outline to be 0.35. I don't have the heat. Let's just use 0.35. For this one is going to be also the same line. Cover fill. We don't have a cover fill. We don't have a cover fill. For core line pen, let's just use 0.35. Alright, I'm pretty much happy with the graphics quality already for the project, and we're moving in the right direction. What we need to do only is to change. If we change this to 1:50, it will give you a nice feel or nice details. What I can do is to change the surface or the graphic hatch for the bricks by selecting it, and then go to element attributes to open the building materials. Under building materials, ArchiCAD will select the material for you. You only need to change under the structure and appearance. Your field is this one. I need to change this field to 0.10, right? Yeah, I'm pretty much happy now with my drawing. Okay, so we can check on 3D. The height of our beam is supposed to be at the top. Let's select all the beam once by activating that, and then set the offset height to, or we can just move it, drag it to the top here. Okay, so that's basically what we have in terms of the structure. And now this, we have another beams going across there and the other side as well. So I'm gonna pick the same beams, or they will disappear because now we've moved them up. It doesn't matter. We can come here and then say all the beams, we can make them to show under floor plan section, to show on home story and down, right? So that on the ground floor they show as well. We want to reference them, and I can select maybe suspend groups, select this beam, Control Shift D. Let's make a copy to this wall and do the same to that side. Oh, I don't know why. Let me just use this edge, something like that. Okay, so if you check on 3D, we have now a boxed frame for our structure. So these walls, if I had to select all of them, the side we should have one that side. So if I had to suspend group and then unsuspend group, I want to select all of them, and then if you pick one point of the walls, I can stretch it. There has to be under the beam, something like that. They literally help to support the beams, okay, according to the design. Right, so that's basically the core frame of the structure. So what we need to do now is to add some openings. Okay, it's pretty much straightforward openings. I'll go back to the plan view. I'll start with the door. Let's activate the door tool. Open the door tool, open its settings. It's a tricky much of a door. Under the hinge doors, let's find a double door, which is this one, and then I'll come here under hinged settings. Let's find the HV grid. On this HV grid, what we need to do, also we can set the handle to that. If we move on to the HV grid by clicking on this tab, it will give us this information. So what you need to do is to increase the number of horizontal members to 25. No, it's 15. Let's just make 15 for this, and then this one I'll make 1. The right I'll make also 1. Let's preview it on here. I'll change the front. Oh, it is supposed to have the cross members instead of vertical. Okay, so vertically 15, right? And then this ones are supposed to be 1. So if we go back to the preview and positioning, we should have something like this. Now the issue is it's thin. We need to increase its thickness. The width should be 100. Okay, and then if you go here under the other parameters, we want to activate the model attributes, and I'm going to set the surface to be uniform, and then change the surface to paint lead oxide yellow. Make sure the 3D detail level is full. Okay, so if we check on preview, it's supposed to be something like that. If you check on 3D, this is type of a door I'm trying to create. Okay, and the door frame should be the same. The door frame should be also yellow. Oh, it's because of this casing. Where is the casing area? Casing out. I don't want to have casing. I don't want to have inside casing as well. Hit OK, and then our door is going to be positioned here, opening to the outside. Okay, we forgot to change the 2D representation of this door. What we need to do is come here and let's find floor plan and section, make the 2D detail level to scale sensitive, and then to show the reveal always. The control pen, I'm going to use pen 10, 0.10 millimeters, which is 161 pen in the color table. Hit OK to apply the changes. Perfect. Now we have a perfect door for only the opening lines are left. Let's go back and change that. I normally want to have the opening lines to be dotted, so I would come here under opening lines and override the symbol and change this to dotted. Change the pen to 0.10 as well, because 0.10 is the lightest pen in this pen set, so that we can have something like that. Okay, you could choose to have a marker. If you scroll down here, you could choose to have a marker already. I'll use just this marker, door stamp, and then you could leave it the way it is by indicating the dimensions if you want. Let me just leave it the way it is. I'm feeling lazy to change this, guys, because I still have a lot of things to cover. Okay, so once we're done with the door, it's the time for us to do the what you call the settings, I mean the windows, sorry. So I'll activate the window tool as well and open its settings. From the settings, I want to activate this window. There is a window. Okay, let's under basic window settings, and if you come here, there should be here, I think it's this chest type. I want to use vent search, right? And then I'll use the opening to be 30 degrees. This will be 100. You could change to be have a Z profile or Z profile or straight, whatever. What I'm interested in here is to change the floor plan, make the detail to be scale sensitive, and the reveal should always be showing. The line pen will be 0.10 millimeters. Okay, I can make everything 0.10 as it is, but I can also override this information from the floor plan and section side. And one thing that I need to do is under material attributes, set this to be uniform, change this to paint lead oxide yellow. Same applies to this. If you hit OK, let's apply the windows here. Okay, we're supposed to open from the inside like that. The windows supposed to be, the width supposed to be 1 meter, and they're supposed to go all the way. So if you come here on 3D, which side is this? It's supposed to be this side. Okay, the windows supposed to go all the way, guys. I'll stretch them all the way to the underside of the beam, right? And then this guy is supposed to be, the height supposed to be 3.5, something like that. And then once we increase the height, we need also to increase the number of members of these vertical members or horizontal members. So let's open that and come here under the it's the frame leaf, no, the door leaf, sorry, yes, and then set this to be 25. Yeah, and I can make the width to be 2 meters, something like that. It looks great. It looks great, guys. It looks great. So I can now repeat my windows across. I could say Control Shift D from here to there, Control Shift D again to here, and then this one will be right on the edge of the wardrobes, sorry, of the closet, of the lockers. Okay, now we need to repeat the same to the other side. I'm feeling lazy. What I need to do is I will select this wall, delete, and then take this wall, Control Shift M. I'll mirror using the midpoint to that. Oh, it's not in a perfect location. Let's just move it right there. And then we need to get rid of the door because this side we don't have a door, something like that. Oh, this, I don't think 2 meters will do. Let's make it 1.80. Yes. Okay, so if you check on 3D, that's basically what we have in terms of the structure. Now there comes a time to do why this building is iconic, right? The roof. Okay, let's move on to the roof. Okay, to start our roof, we need to have there's a ceiling that is made up of a brick, and this iconic building where it will use this to discharge the hot heat, the hot air coming from the inside, letting it out from the top of our roof. So that's a feature that we are going to start with. So that feature we're going to make, because it's more like a curvature here, we're going to use a beam to achieve that. So instead of having our roof walls going all the way to there, they're supposed to, let me just pick parameters of this and then inject they're supposed to start right above this wall. I mean, yeah. Okay, so what I'm basically saying is that we're going to pick this beam, and then on this beam I'm going to Control Shift D. Okay, Control Shift D to carry a copy and place it on top of this beam. Okay, and then in this beam I'm going to open its settings, and then I'm going to make it bend by a radius of 900, something like that. Perfect. So I'm going to now run this beam across all the way to this side. So that means I need to measure from here to there, which is 13.5. so this beam width is going to run, let me open the settings, is going to run, and the reference axis should be from the outside, right? And then it's going to run by 13,500, sorry about that, 13,500 all the way to that side, something like that. Okay, something like this. I think the width, the height of it should be 300, and this will be determined by the number of bricks we can get. Instead of a concrete, like I said, it's going to be a brick structural, something like this. And then if you zoom in here, we need to fit in maybe one brick instead of many of this. I think 200, yes, 200 is fine. 200 is fine, and this has to be okay. I would change, let's go back on the settings. I want here to use the base as the position point, right? So that when I say it has to be positioned right on top of this beam by 400, like that. Okay, this side is sitting right the way I want, only this side we need to stretch it. Let's stretch it all the way by using this length stretch to here, something like this. Okay, and then we're gonna take this wall and this side of the wall, stretch it all the way to here, so that we can run now element operation, solid element operation, connect solid element operation, and then these two walls are going to be target. The operator is going to be the beam, and then I'm going to use subtract with upward extrusion to cut out or to clean out that. This side it didn't happen because of let me see what might be the problem. Yeah, it's that right here, so it needs to start all the way to this area. I hope this side is also, yeah, this side also is not affected. Okay, that's basically that. And then we're going to have some vents, air vents on top of this area here where we're going to place our roof. So let's create that. That one of the things that makes this building sustainable is because it has this vents, windows that will collect air, and then once the air accumulates inside and it gets heated, it will rise up to the top and be discharged from the roof. Okay, so I'm going to open this floor, which is the what you call this floor, first floor, and then I'm going to draw some slabs here that I'll use to cut off that. Okay, I could use also openings, but opening tool will take me ages to finish. So let me use a slab. I'll just use a basic tool and then just to draw slab of maybe 800 by a meter. Shoot, a meter is too much. That will be too much. Maybe let's move it in by 200. Okay, I think this size is much better. I'm not sure with the size of these openings from the real structure, so I would run a multiple copies for this. Let me use this increment and spread. I'm just going to estimate this star, right, and then group these elements. Let's run again another multiple copies going all the way like that. So I'll make sure these are all grouped, right? So if we check on 3D, this has to pierce through our slab. So let's find them and then or go back to the floor plan. Let's make this to be, I will select all of these guys and suspend the group, group them all, set them to be at maybe 3 meters high, and the length of it should be maybe 2 meters. Any measurement that will make it pops out like that, but it still wants a little bit of yeah, it can also work even though it doesn't pierce through, because it's solid element operation. I can pick this as operator and then pick the roof curve as a target and then use execute with upward extrusion. This we're going to edit on a hidden layer. It's going to be permanently on hidden layer like that. So that's basically how this structure operates. Okay, so what is left now is the iconic roof. So let me just organize myself there. It's the iconic roof. Okay, all right, so let's get into that. I'll go back here. What I want to do is to open this section. I'm going to move it somewhere here or even here, and then start sketching my roof, my trusses there. Okay, so let's do that. No, this is not what I want. It's not what I want. Let's move it back to somewhere here. Okay, this is basically what we have, and I want to start sketching, right, the roof profile by using a polyline. I'm gonna use a polyline tool. This will be more like, I would just assume for the sake of this, right, it's going to be something like that, and then this is going to be curved like that. I can just drop this a little bit and then maybe raise this a little bit as well. I'm just sketching the profile of the roof. Okay, so and then we need to have a roof first before we can have the trusses. Okay, or we can create trusses then later create the roof finish. Let's do that. And I will select this, change this to a solid line and pick this. You would have something like that. I'm just sketching, guys. And then we have vertical member, we have this. Okay, for the sake of this demonstration, I don't want to have too many struts because of that. There are two types of trusses here, guys. There are trusses that are on the roof curve, and then there are the ones that are on the truss, I mean on the beams. So this one is sitting right on this. So I have to model two types of trusses or create that. Let's just sketch this, something like this. Don't necessarily to be accurate, but That's Gando for you. And then in most cases you'd have this supported by a vertical member here, another vertical member there. All of them has to be like this. No, I think for this one I would have to get rid of that, and then I can have one here to support there, maybe something like this, but this is too short, it's too small. Okay, this is basically how the truss looks like. Now here we have some things like that. Yes, it looks easy from the drawing like this, but trust me, you'd see how I'm saying this is one of the difficult trusses I've ever made in ArchiCAD. Okay, let's assume this is the accurate or almost close to what it is on the site or on the actual building. So you cannot use the truss maker tool. You know, I would have to select this. If I had to use truss maker tool, I would select all this 2D lines and then go to design, and then design extras, and then create a truss. That will be easy, but for this it's not what you think. Okay, so basically what we have here, there are series of trusses or elements that are, it's not just a single truss, but this truss has more like connection between each other. So let's try to achieve that and then see. Okay, so the top bar, I'm going to use a beam, right? I'm going to copy this beam as well. Let's copy this beam, Control Shift D, right? And no, let's delete this. I'll copy this one, copy this beam all the way to here, and then one thing that I need to do is to change it profile, make it round, and then or circle, change the material to metal steel structural, something like this, and then set the diameter to be, okay, let's just open the settings, set the diameter to be 100. I don't know, 100 to work, and pick this edge, use this modify angle, and I'll slightly put it there. Okay, let's zoom in. I want to pick this edge, right, so that I can have this extended to somewhere here, and pick again, use the modify angle. I will put it there so that I can do the same to the side as well. Let's stretch all the way to there, pick and use the modify angle, position it there. Once you are done, I can now bend it over by picking the edge, and then let's bend it over to that. So in 3D you would have your truss top chord like that, right? Yes, and then yeah, like that. Okay, so and then let's make sure this sits on a correct position. Okay, let's find it on the top here. Control Shift D. No, let's just move it to here. Okay, so what I need to do, I can open this elevation, right click, open this elevation, and then oh, I left my sketch there. Okay, let's go back to the section. What I need to do is to draw a line from here to this point, right? I can have a column it's easy to use a column from this point to there. So I'm going to activate the design tool, column. I don't know, can I place a column? It's impossible to place a column on section. I'm just trying out, but I can use this point to place that column, right? And then select this column, open its settings, and set this to be 100, which is the diameter. The material is going to be steel structural, and then yeah, we can make it a slanted column. Let's make it a slant column. Yes, and then we can slant it from the section. If you select this and then pick the point, we can slant by modifying the angle, something like that, and then pick this top point and use the stretch the height to there. Okay, so the position of this column has to move maybe some close to here. Yes, it can go all the way into the brick. Yeah, something like that. So we need to align them with the top beam from the plan view. I hope I will see the column here. The column is not showing here. What we need to do is I think maybe it's on the second story. Yeah, there we go. Let's just align this to a beam. Where is our beam? Make this to show home story and down, so that here it will show. Where is it? I'm looking for the column. Okay, let's go back to the 3D. The home story of this is the first story, so let's just make it show only on the home story, which is this story. It's not showing. Let's make it show all relevant story, or all stories. Let's just say all stories so that it can show even here. There is a problem with this column. I don't know why he wants to give me these problems. Okay, I could retrace, show this as a trace, just to, I thought and then move this to the center like that, so that it can be this. Okay, and then I can now start to duplicate this to all the members, right? To all the members. Remember guys, this is not a vertical, I forgot to tell you this, it's not vertically inclined like this. It has also to tilt. I don't know, you understand what I'm saying. So let me say move this back. Can I modify this angle? Control E. Oh, sorry, it's just for me to control E and rotate. I was struggling to this. I'll rotate it to somewhere there, and then I'll make sure it goes all the way to, should be like that. Yeah, something like that. It should go all the way. I think this can be done or achieved on plan. Oh no, I think on section. should be achieved on section. Okay, so I don't want it to be on the edge like that, so I'm going to modify the angle to somewhere here. All right, so that on, yes, it becomes this, something like that. And then I will have to mirror a copy. Let's mirror a copy, Control M, mirror a copy vertically like that. So that's basically the same, that's basically the arrangement of these columns. They're going to be like that across all the way. So I need to have now the vertical members there. Let's go back. These ones are going to be straight, so I'm going to Control Shift D to copy, make a copy on the same point, and then I'll check on a 3D. I could pick one of these and change the angle to 90. Right, let's check on 3D. Is it what we want? Perfect. That's exactly what I intended. So now the other one here I'll delete, and let's zoom in closely to extend this. Let's make sure it goes in to close it off like that, and then I can go back and make a copy. Oh, what happened? Control Shift M to make a copy of this to that, yeah, something like that. And then I have to make a copy again, and then okay, before I make a copy, let's see this time around. The angle has to come from the top going this direction. So I could say Control Shift D here, and then I'll use the same point to paste it, and then I would now modify the angle to the side. I'm not gonna follow the sketch, but as long as it's in the range, guys, for the sake of this demonstration. And then let's go back to the plan view. Oh, sorry. And then pick this one, Control Shift M, or I could finish the entire length and then come and do copies once I'm done. So that's basically I'm going to do that basically. Okay, so oh sorry, but check if the connections are what you want, right? But in this case I could see there are a lot of cluttering. So normally you would have this member thicker than the other members. Okay, so let me come here on section. The good part of it, once you finished one, you could now do multiple copies and save it as an object. That's the entire strategy. So I'll Control Shift D for this one and then place it there. Let's modify the angle to here, maybe stretch the height to there, somewhere here. Control Shift M, place it there. Like I said, I'm going to do one lap up until, so this one is going to be vertical, right? I'm going to make it 90 degrees for this one. I think I might change this. I might move it somewhere here so that it makes sense, and move everyone there stretch that, stretch this, that. Then I'll move this. Okay, this one I'm going to delete because now I'm doing just one. I'm going to finish one side, right? I'm going to finish one side, and then I will, that means now I'm going to fast track that process. Okay, then I'll see you once I'm done with one side, and then we can mirror a copy. Yeah, I'm almost done to the last area. Let me just finish it off, and I will, from here it will be just mirroring to the other side, mirroring copy to the other side. So this time around, this I'll go all the way to here, and then I will stretch it. Sorry, Mr. Kere, if this is going to have a negative impact to your name, but that's not my intention. It's just for academic purposes. I respect you very much, and that's why I want to celebrate with you by redoing this in my platform. So this one I'll Control D and place it there. Pick this point, make this one 90 degrees, and then stretch the height like that. Then I'll have just one going all the way like that. Let's say Control D, pick this point, paste it there, pick here, stretch all the way to somewhere there. Let's reduce the height. Wow, this won't, I see why we cannot have this angle. Let's bring it back to somewhere there. Then stretch this to there. Here I can use a beam to achieve this area, but before I do that, let me see. Okay, this needs to be rotated to whatever. Yeah, it needs to be rotated to there. Let's come here. Select this one. What am I doing here? Okay, let's see, let's check on that. Okay, these ones are off target. I don't know what happened. These ones are off target. Let me just get rid of them. Even this one, something wrong I did. Okay, so go back to the section, then Control Shift D, place it there. So if I move this, move the angle to here, and then stretch all the way to there. Before let me check. No, I see why. Let's continue with that, and then make a copy of this. Let's stretch all the way to there. Then I can now reduce the, let's check check on 3D. Yeah, this needs to be, I think also I can reduce the angle of this instead of having it at let's see, at 45. Maybe we can have it at 50, maybe it's 60. Yes, and then on here I can drag it vertically to this point. This I can delete. If you go back, and I can oh, sorry about that. Make the angle like that. Control Shift D and stretch this all the way to there. Let's stretch the height. Check on 3D. Yeah, almost. Go back to the plane and rotate this member, rotate it to be in line with that. So if we check on 3D, we'll have something like that. Okay, so almost. We're gonna have the vertical one. Control Shift D, pick this point, place it there, and let's modify this angle to have 90 degrees. And then I can stretch the height down below. If you check on 3D, that's what we have. So for the remaining part, I could use a beam from here to there. So I'm going to pick a beam tool here, just like I used this one. Let me just pick the parameters of this beam. This beam tool, and then here what I need to do is to pick this point going all the way to there. So if we check on 3D, we can align it. Oh sorry, it's rotated. Let's make it straight. Come here, make it straight, something like that. I think it has to be very straight in order for it to bend it manually. So I will come here on section, then pick, move it right to there. Let's stretch this to go all the way. So on the story here, on the floor plane, it has to come here, this beam. So I'll stretch, let's stretch this angle to, it's supposed to be here, it's supposed to be there. Let's see. Perfect. All right, that's basically how it looks. Great, guys. It's a hell of a work to do. Unfortunately, it's one of this. That's why it makes it an iconic building. It's not easy to redo some of the features because it's a once-off thing. It's not a standard truss that you use it for majority of your project. It was specifically meant for this project, and it will never be done again, will never be used again. So this time around, I need to take this, select all this by shift hold to add. Okay, let me just group this one. I think the best way is to do it in the floor plane. I want to select all these members and mirror a copy. But before I do, I need to group them. So that means this ones I'm going to delete. Okay, so Control Shift M, use the midpoint of your beam so that you can have something like that. If you check on 3D, that's basically what you have. That's your truss. That's your truss. Obviously here is going to be a different truss, guys, because of we don't have this splay or this bend, so it's going to be straight, and I don't think this one will be much of a problem. So once we're done with that, it's let's select this. I'll select all of these members. Okay, but before I do, let's make sure we group everything once before we save it as an object. Select this, I'll select that one as well, Control G. Okay, so I'll go here under the floor plan, go to File, Libraries and Objects, save selection as an object. I would say Gando Truss, then save, then hit OK. Once you're done, you could load your truss, activate object tool, and then place it there. Select it, make sure it's 90 aligned. Oh, sorry, let me make it 0. Let's make it 0 so that it can be positioned to this one here. They had to be aligned. Okay, if they're aligned, I can get rid of. So that means I can get rid of this because I'm no longer gonna use it. So I'll come here, let's move this to there. Make sure on section it makes sense. Let's position it on section. I'm gonna move it down like so. I think down a bit. Yeah, check on 3D. Perfect. So like I said, this truss, let's go back here, and then I think I need to move it this side a bit so that I can now run multiple copies going all the way down. I'll pick this and then make sure they are stacked, and make sure I select all of them, then group. So if we check on 3D, that's what we have. Perfect. We could centralize them because this side they've left a little bit of a gap. We can move them centrally, something like this. If you check, they should leave the same much gap. Yeah, okay, it looks great. It looks great, gents. That's what I wanted to achieve. Okay, so you could see now we have this. So what we need to do is to put, let's place a, I can change the override to maybe simplified so that we can have a clean view of that. Wow, this is incredible, guys. I'm impressed with the result. Okay, so let's finish it off by placing the roof sheets. So I'm going to go back here, and then with the roof sheets, because we had this line, right, I'm going to copy this line. I'm going to use a morph because the roof tool can't bend we cannot bend it this way. So I'm going to come here and paste that information, which is this, and activate the shell tool. Let's use this construction method, and then let's leave it under extruded, and then our magic wand to place that. It has to take the length of the build. I forgot what's the length, but let me just use I'll just use 10 meters for now. I can come back and adjust that. But because it was placed or being created on the floor plan, the orientation is wrong. So what I need to do is to rotate it on the elevation. So I need to pick this elevation. I think it's this one. Where is it? It's here. We're going to rotate, Control E, rotate this. No, I don't think it's this elevation. It's okay, it might be the one. Let's rotate it that way, and then from floor plan it will change the orientation. So that means we need to rotate it again like that, then we position it again to here. Let's check on our section. Is it what we wanted? Oh, we need to mirror it. Let's mirror it vertically, and then mirror it horizontal. Oh, we rotate. I see you are having challenges. And then Control M to mirror it. Let's mirror it vertical like that. Okay, almost there. So I'll place it here. Okay, let's use this top part, the reference line, to place it here. And then we're going to change the profile to basic, set this to a steel because it's a corrugated iron sheet. And then once we're done with that, let's come here and set the height to 50. And then I'm going to flip. Let's flip now the profile so that it becomes that way. Perfect. So if we check on 3D, we have our roof. I don't know why we need to apply the corrugated profile on the surfaces. So check here and then type for roof, then find corrugated, make sure the surfaces are linked, and then hit OK to apply the changes. Perfect. So that's basically what we have. Okay, I'm impressed, guys. Okay, it looks great. It looks great, gents. And yeah, and the rest is it's history. You could now multiply these trusses along to end here and then on the other side as well. So if you now check on your sections, you could see everything is being placed the way you want. So I could delete now the lines, 2D lines. Let's get rid of the lines to remain with this.